Okay, well, we're here with Chef Payne, who's going to show us how to mix up some wild sour starters. Right on.
Yes.
So we talked in your lecture about the importance of the 2 ingredients needed for creating a starter. And they are whole grains, so this is a whole rye, and unchlorinated water. So why is it in a big tub like that with a whisk in it? Because to ensure that the chlorine has evaporated, I pour it into a container and I whisk it and I let it aerate. There you go, Chef Payne. Whisk that baby up. Great. So, 2 details you need to remember. Whole grain, not necessarily rye or wheat, but can be either one. So that is very popular in Eastern Europe for rye because rye grain grows better in that climate, and wheat grain grows better in the U.S. and some parts of Europe. So we've got whole grain and unchlorinated water. Chlorine kills bacteria, so that's no bueno. And the whole grain contains the exterior portion of the kernel. Excuse me. It contains the exterior portion of the kernel, and that's where the yeast live. And we talked about that in your lecture. Some people bury grapes or potato or use potato water because of the high starch and because of the collection of natural yeast on the exterior of anything. So Chef Payne is going to just mix up this rye starter for us. She's got our unchlorinated water at 80 degrees. She's going to pour that rye in there. It's going to look like kind of really coarse sand. She's going to use her spatula, mix that bad boy together, and then once that's mixed, she's going to put it into a sprayed container because we're going to monitor this. We want to keep these mixtures, all 3 of the ones that we're making today, because we're going to go with a rye meal, and then we're going to go with a medium rye. We're going to try that as a little experiment. And that's going to go into a container that's been sprayed. And then we are going to mark on that container where we start, and we'll see what kind of movement we get overnight. We're going to leave these in our proofer because we can. At home, you need to find a warm environment. Sometimes it's in a cupboard that might be above a light that stays on, or if you have a warm corner in your kitchen. So we just kind of need to keep it at 80 degrees if that's possible. Sometimes I tell my students they need to wrap it in a towel and just keep a thermometer in it to make sure that you're maintaining that temperature. Okay, so we're going to move on next to the medium rye starter. Again, 80 degrees, unchlorinated water, and we've got a rye, medium rye, which means that it contains some of the bran, which is the exterior portion of the entire kernel. All right, dump that in there and give that a little mix. Chef Payne, you can use your hands or you can use a spatula. I think the hydration is enough that you could probably mix it with a spatula. Awesome. So we're experimenting with this starter for you all because, well, we're so fun and this is a great class, but besides that, also I've never started with a medium rye. It's always been a rye meal, but the rye meal that we got in that Chef Payne just used, you can see is really more like just a whole grain. It just looks like it's been crushed a little bit. So I'm not sure it contains enough powdery substance to get it working. So perfect, Chef Payne. That is absolutely glorious. She's going to dispense that into a container that's been sprayed. Ba, ba, ba. The miracle of television. So this is my first time holding the camera, so you have to excuse me. I'm going to try not to get my finger in it, and I have remembered to press play, so that is always a big bonus. All right, now we're going to move on to our whole wheat starter. So this is partially, ooh, Carol Merrill at her best. This is partially whole wheat flour and then a little bread flour. So Chef Payne has her 80-degree temperature water. She's going to drop her whole grains in there, and then she's going to drop her bread flour. So what we're hoping for and through the miracle of wild yeast fermentation and bacteria collecting along with yeast. So these are both single cell living organisms. Some people think that they're the same. They're not. They just require some of the same needs for fermentation. Factom, food, acidity, temperature, time, oxygen, and moisture. So this one's a little bit more dough-like, wouldn't you say, Chef Payne?
Yes, definitely.
So look, she's got her little mitts in there. She's going to town. This one looks more like the hydration of one of the pre-ferments we recorded that you will find in your Artisan Week. This one's probably more the hydration of a biga or papiamento. She is just doing a great job. Now, with this technique, you really are just trying to get the flour to hydrate. You do not need to develop any gluten. That's not our goal. Our goal is just to get it well mixed, all the flour hydrated, and then into its grease container for 24-hour period. So this is day 1 of our sourdough starters, which is so exciting. So exciting. All right, so Chef Payne, you've done a beautiful job. We're going to, once we put these into the containers, we're going to grab the masking tape, press it down real good, Chef Payne. We're gonna put a piece of masking tape right at the top of where that starter comes in our quart containers. Beautiful. So that tomorrow when we come back in, we will know how much it's grown. So does that make sense to you, Chef Payne?
Yes.
Yes, except your hands are dirty and it's hard to do it, isn't it? All right, so we're gonna mark these, we're gonna put a lid on them, and we will come back tomorrow for day 2 of our sourdough starters. What we'll do tomorrow is we will remove some of our starters and feed it with fresh flour and fresh water, and that'll be day 2. Okay, can't wait to see you guys again really soon. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we have prepared our babies for a little time in the proofer overnight. So they're gonna go to sleep for about 24 hours. We've named them, so start thinking about the names that you want your babies to be. Wheatley is our whole wheat starter. Roger is our medium rye, and Gruff is our big grainy gruff guy. So we're gonna push them into the proofer. Night-night, guys. Be good, behave yourselves, do what you're supposed to do. And then I wanna make sure that my temperature is at 80 and my humidity's at 80. So temperature's 80, humidity's 80. It's climbing. And then I like to leave this little note on the front of the proofer so nobody turns the proofer off while we're gone. All right, we'll see you soon. Night-night, guys.